All right, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of you guys have asked me to respond or react to the response video, I suppose, from Fighting Cowboy, who is a content creator that I did a video on a couple of days ago. Basically, when he was kind of spurking out on Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I guess when he was streaming the game, he had a couple of racist comments that he decided to stop his stream for and kind of go off on a tangent about. Now, apparently, he's responded and he's got some things to say about the supposed crash out that happened on that stream, and people are saying that he mentions me, I suppose, in this video. I'm not really sure, so we're gonna get into it. So let's get into the video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, again, guys, I want to make it very clear. I never knew this guy before I actually reacted to that first video. Never knew him. I know he's pretty big in the gaming space, apparently, according to his subscriber count, not necessarily the views, but he's pretty big, has been known for a long time. And some people have told me that this is pretty normal for him, where he has like certain spurg outs about certain video games, but this one in particular was a little bit on the extreme side. So we're gonna, give him a fair shot. Like I said, I have no issues with this guy. Absolutely zero. I disagreed fundamentally with what he was talking about. He seems to be a leftist for the most part. But I have no issues whatsoever with, him as a person, because I never knew him. So again, there was no reason for me to have a problem. However, fundamentally, what he was saying, I do have problems with. And let's see if anything gets brought up here. Here we go.
What is happening, y'all? So we're going to have a bit of a different stream today. Just got some lunch. But things have been pretty spicy since the Assassin's Creed stream. And your typical, well, first and foremost, let me say there has been a huge amount of support and people in agreement. And really appreciate that. It's nice to know I'm not the only one who is tired of all this bullshit. But then, your typical grifters went and picked the story up. Now there's all sorts of dumb made up bullshit floating around. So I figured, let's do a stream. Let's discuss. Let's make it hell, we can make it an open invitation for anyone that actually wants to try and stand on business instead of making up little bullshit to help get their viewers angry. But regardless, let's talk. Let's talk about what happened. Now,
I find that odd to ask people to stand on business, assuming, I guess that's an assumption that people won't talk to you about this situation, maybe Shadows or, DEI in general. I don't, why would you assume that people don't want to talk to you when you were the one that has pre-blocked somebody that never even knew you existed, not even given the opportunity to even stand on business because they were blocked? You blocked me. I don't even know you. You blocked me. But anyway, that's besides the point. I definitely would talk to the guy. That would be a cool conversation to have, I feel like.
For those that were not here the other day, we were playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. And at the part of the stream we were at, Yasuke was on screen. Now, for those that don't know, Yasuke is a historical figure in Japanese history. He was brought over by the Portuguese and then taken by Nobunaga. Now, there's obviously a lot of iffy records about what happened back then. Some people say he was a retainer. Some people say he was raised up to a samurai. Regardless, I'm not here to talk about that.
If you're not here to talk about it, why did you mention it? I just find it a little bit strange because he says that, there's a lot of, I guess, nonsensical, whatever, historical records. But the truth is that there is only about a paragraph to a paragraph and a half of actual historical text regarding Yasuke. Everything else is made up by Thomas Lockley and repeated by people like this. Everything else, literally everything else, is made up by Thomas Lockley. I am not even kidding. The actual historical text, they have the document. It's only about a paragraph to a paragraph and a half of text, and that is literally it. All we know is that Yasuke came over from the Portuguese, okay, and Nobunaga had a certain fascination with his skin color, and that Yasuke was in Japan for about 15 months before the eventual death of Nobunaga, resulting in his surrender and his deportation out of Japan. That is it. That is literally all we know regarding Yasuke. Everything else is completely fucking made up, which, by the way, they treat him as a kind of like folklore character where Yasuke has been depicted in armor before, not necessarily as a samurai. See, people confuse somebody being clad in armor with somebody being given the rank and the title of samurai. There is two different distinct things there. Yasuke has been showcased as DLC characters, optional characters, secret bosses, whatever, in samurai armor or like kind of like gear, but never necessarily given the samurai rank. especially with games like Neo, for example. They call him a mysterious figure, essentially, and they clad him out in armor, obviously, but they're not giving him the title in the rank of samurai because there's something that came with that back in the 16th century that's not easily given to a foreigner who was only there for a few months. And that's the ridiculous nature of Assassin's Creed Shadows, because the Shadows tries to sell you the idea that Yasuke went from slave to samurai by rank, by the way, by title, in 6 months. Okay? They literally try to sell you that story in 6 months. Why does it matter? Well, because again, he's going to try to say, well, you know, Assassin's Creed Shadows, historical fiction, whatever. I'm sure he's going to say that. But here's the beautiful thing, right? We didn't advertise the game as historically accurate. Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft did that. They advertised the game as historically accurate. And the reason why they did that is because they knew they were going to get backlash for choosing Yasuke as one of the main protagonists in a game based in feudal Japan with fucking samurais that everybody and their mother, if you were to ask them a question, any normal person who's not even part of the online space, if you were to ask them, hey, what does an Assassin's Creed game based in feudal Japan look like to you? You think anybody's going to say, oh yeah, I could definitely, see a black samurai? You think anybody would say that? Just like, do you think anybody would say a white samurai? Nobody would fucking say that, bro. They would be like, oh yeah, I see a bunch of Japanese people running around, maybe, have some samurai wars, whatever. Nobody's going to say black or white samurai. So then why, when it happens, do you sit here and try to justify it as if it's, oh, you're just abnormal if you even question it? It's ridiculous, man. Anyway, let him talk.
Okay, that's beyond the point, because Assassin's Creed has always been historical fiction. Okay.
Wow, fucking called it. Fucking called it. So Assassin's Creed, yes, Assassin's Creed has always been historical fiction, obviously, right? But again, this is the first time where they tried to advertise it as historically accurate, because not only of feudal Japan and them trying to, fake the perception that they're going to be respectful to Japan and their culture, but the simple fact is they were using Yasuke as a shield, right? They wanted to inject DEI into Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's no doubt about it. If you deny this, you clearly don't know Ubisoft as a company and what they stand for. They wanted to interject this. This game was made in 2020 at the peak of DEI. 2020 was literally the emotional peak of DEI, where so many people eventually became this obsessed political, like, activist kind of person where everything had to be about DEI. So they decided, okay, how can we do this and get away with it? And they decided to go with Yasuke, the person who has such a, I guess you could say, mysterious, history or whatever the case may be, barely anything known about him. But they knew that he existed in Japan at that time, at that moment, and they ran with the story. That's what they did. And they based it off of Thomas Lockley's work. And even though Thomas Lockley tries to deny that he worked with Ubisoft, it came out that he actually did consult in some way, shape, or form from his works on Yasuke. All made up bullshit. A lot of Netflix adaptations were made up bullshit about Yasuke as well from Thomas Lockley's work. Anything Western, for the most part, has been based off of Thomas Lockley's work. So it's not based off Japanese. It's not based off their culture. It's not based off their history. It's been adopted by people who want to turn Yasuke into some sort of, figure that essentially pushes the ideology while also claiming to be historically accurate because he existed. Not based off his actual rank or anything, but just the fact that he was around at the time.
We never actually punched a pope. We never actually fucking had flying machines. That shouldn't be an issue. But so we have people in stream. There were two comments in particular that popped up. We had, I guess this is the new 2K, and then better make sure the black guy doesn't pull out the Glock.
All right, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. I would laugh at that. I will laugh at that. Is it racially charged? Absolutely, right? Like those jokes, like racist jokes can be funny. If you take the stick out your ass, right? If you take the stick out your ass, they can actually be kind of funny, right? And I feel like those are fucking hilarious jokes, especially if Yasuke were to show up on screen, like you say, at the time, and they pull out jokes like that. Bro, it's 2 comments, man. 2 comments in your live stream chat with over 1,000 people watching you, and you decided to spurg out for 2 comments. That's insane to me. That really is. I feel like you gave them all the power over you, where now you have to make this video trying to explain yourself when you really shouldn't have to at the end of the day. But now you're here, right? You took those 2 comments from those 2 people, and you decided to go off on everybody. You dragged everybody into it for 2 people. I think that's crazy, personally.
Both those people got timed out. And then we had other comments that I'm not going to repeat. There's some comments that I have pinned on Blue Sky that were just outright racism. like just slurs. And those, thankfully, those get held. Those don't even make it into chat because we got filters. And if you somehow are like, no, nobody could be making slurs about Assassin's Creed, like, bro, go on Twitter, look up Assassin's Creed Shadows, and type the slur of your choice into that search bar.
Of course. Sure. I don't take that away from you. Of course there's going to be racist comments. It's the internet, my guy. It's the internet. Surely you've been around the internet long enough to understand that people are going to say and do whatever the fuck they want online. Are you going to derail your entire stream because 2 people made comments in your chat that you just admitted were timed out anyway? It's like, bro, if you have mods and they're timing out people in your chat that are saying things like that, then why are you then dedicated time on your stream to go after them publicly for what? For a virtue signal moment? There's no other reason to do that. It makes no sense, right? You derailed your stream for no reason whatsoever. And this is where I fundamentally disagree with you, especially as a content creator, bro. Like, it's one thing if you want to ask them questions, have a conversation, make them look stupid, perhaps. You could probably do that. But you spurred out and you fucking melted down and then you dragged the entire chat into it for no reason when people were just trying to watch you play Assassin's Creed Shadows. And again, yes, there are people online on Twitter that are absolutely making racist comments about Yasuke. Of course they are. But there's people that are online making racist comments about everything. There's people that are making racist comments about white people all the time. I don't see you complaining about that, right? But you probably are one of the people, again, I don't want to assume, but maybe you are one of the people that believe that white people can't be, you can't be racist against white people because you seem to, you seem to bring up your whiteness a lot in videos from what I can see from the little bit that I've watched. But I don't understand. People are racist against white people all the time. They make white jokes all the time. They make Spanish jokes all the time, right? Latino jokes, Mexican jokes, right? Me being Puerto Rican myself, I see it all the time. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't care. Why would you even give them even remotely any power over you is insane.
And you will see what I'm talking about. So, in that moment, we were playing the game, and we weren't even playing yet. We were basically in like the opening cutscene, and we had people that were upset specifically about the existence of a black guy in a Japanese setting. This had nothing to do with Ubisoft's microtransactions, had nothing to do with optimization, had nothing to do with the setting. It was simply black dude in a Japanese game.
Well, they have every right to do that, though. And again, you're being disingenuous. It's not black dude in a Japanese game. It's black dude in feudal Japan, right? Like, there's a big fucking difference. It's not like this game is based in modern Japan where you have all kinds of tourists that are living now, or not tourists if they're living there, but you get what I'm saying. Like, people who are from the outside who have now moved to Japan. I think there's like less than 1% of Japan's population is black or something along those lines. It's a crazy low number. But there are people that obviously have moved there, that live there now, that are black. Whatever. That's modern times, right? We live in a very different world now. But this is feudal fucking Japan, my guy, right? This is feudal Japan. This is the reason why people have every right to look at this and say, that's not the decision that I would have went with, right? I feel like this is obviously a move to try to pander to people, right? Because they know that Assassin's Creed is very much a Western kind of normie-ish game, and they're trying to adhere to the normies. That's what they're doing, and they're going with every little bit that they possibly can to adhere to them. It's not even just Yasuke, right? There's a whole bunch of things that are in this game that people have a problem with. Like you mentioned yourself, optimization, big issue, right? The bugginess, right? The AI is fucking atrocious. The, what do you call it? The voice acting is horrible, right? The voice acting seems to be done by AI half of the time. There's so many things to talk about regarding this game, but that doesn't downplay the fact that people have a right to be angry at the fact that Yasuke was included over a potential another samurai that definitely was around when Oda Nobunaga was around. There's plenty of samurai that actually have plenty of history and historical context that we actually know about that was around that time, but they decided to go with Yasuke, the person who has little to no historical context or history, and made up an entire narrative about him. And they chose to do that themselves. And then they wanted to shield themselves from criticism by saying, well, he really existed. This game's historically accurate because we used the first ever historically accurate character. We're safe, right? It's unbelievable. I think it's disingenuous and unfair for you to try to downplay people being angry at Yasuke being included in the game. They have every right to be, right? Especially the Japanese. The Japanese have every right to be angry over the depiction of Yasuke, and especially what he's able to do in the game, depending on the Japanese setting and if it's shrines, religious, or whatever the case may be. People have a right to be angry over it. And then also a lot of people that are on your particular side, I know you don't maybe want to, include yourself with them, but there are people that are on your particular ideology that are out there trying to lie about Japan not being angry about this game, right? They're trying to say, well, the comments are basically white people using Google Translator. It was one of the biggest copes I've ever seen in my life. And then it started to get worse and worse and worse. There were way more Japanese comments talking about the game, Twitter accounts talking about the game. You had Japanese YouTubers talking about the game. And now you got the Japanese government talking about the game. It doesn't matter if it's one or two people in government. They're still talking about the game. The game made it to the Japanese Diet. That is insane. That is insane. And that is not something that needs to be downplayed or just pretend like it's not a big deal.
And we called that out. We said, get the fuck out. If you don't like it here, fucking leave. Everyone is tired of listening to this shit. Get the fuck out. And then, of course, your typical grifters, they like to make up bullshit. Oh, woke leftist cowboy is, I don't know, shilling for Ubisoft and blah, blah, blah. Because none of them actually have a point to stand on. They're all little, weak-willed men that like to hide behind avatars or made-up names. And they don't actually...
Oh, shit. There it is. There it is. Nice. I like it. Oh, man. Let him cook. Let him cook.
Really stand on business. They don't. They probably don't stand at all. I can't imagine.
We don't stand on business, yet you're the one that blocked me without any interaction prior. Isn't that a little bit strange? Like, you blocked me without any interaction prior, but then you're gonna say that we don't stand on business. Like, my guy, you blocked me without any interaction whatsoever, right? I never trolled you once, never spoke about you, never knew you existed. Ironically, which is weird to me that I never knew you existed, but I didn't. I didn't know you existed. And here we are. And now you're saying, well, this is clearly, I don't stand on business. Bro, we can have a conversation anytime you want. You let me know when. I don't usually like doing this shit because honestly, I like to focus on the video games, the companies, and focus on the real targets, the real issues. But if you think people are not going to stand on business for whatever reason, let me hear your reasoning. Hold on.
Most of these people are active. They probably don't go to the gym. They probably don't work out. They probably just sit inside all day and hide. But that's beyond the point. Okay?
Oh my God. This is fucking cope, my guy. This is cope, my guy. All right. So this is what we're doing now. So we're using the guns. Is that what it is? We're using the guns to try to say that my argument or anybody else's argument is any lesser. So the bigger your muscles, the lesser of the argument somebody else has online. Is this really where we're fucking? Weren't you fat just a few years ago? Weren't you overweight just a few years ago? You just clearly hit the gym because I could tell by your body that you've been doing this probably for a few years, but you don't know how to control your food because you should be a lot more jacked than you are now right now. And for you to assume that people aren't active because they're online using avatars, are you fucking kidding me, my guy? Seriously? This is where you're really going with it right now? Even if people aren't active, how does that help your point whatsoever? What does someone's activity physically have to do with the arguments that's being made against a game that you are currently defending? Like, what does that have to do with it? This is such a weak mindset because you're trying to say that other people can't stand on business and don't have an argument to stand on, but your argument has nothing to stand on when your justification for your argument is, well, I work out, I got guns. Bro, that's insane, bro. What are we seriously doing here?
Hey, let's give the grifters a break for a second. So what actually happened?
And you also are using the word grifter, by the way. You don't know what it fucking means. You have absolutely no idea what it means. And if you do, that means you're using it in the completely wrong fashion because how are we exactly grifters? How is anybody here grifters? Can you even explain how people are grifters? What are we, what outrage merchants? Is that what you're going to say?
Is we had people that were upset about a black guy on the screen and they were called out. They were called out live. And that needs to happen more. Now, why did I get so fucking angry? Let's talk about it. Because, bro, it's obnoxious. It's obnoxious. I mean, like, for real, let's talk about the last year in gaming. Fucking Stellar Blade drama. Because there was a titty window added. Oh, they're censoring. They're taking away the gooning. Elden Ring.
Well, first, okay, you are clearly going to do revisionist history here. Wow. I really expected better. All right, so Stellar Blade, oh, titty thing, it's censoring. All right, my guy, first off, the Stellar Blade drama started from the journalists. I don't know if you're aware of that. They started the whole drama when they started calling it an over-sexualized video game, misogynist, all this kind of nonsense. And then on top of that, too, they're the ones that got the game censored with the whole hard R situation that was completely manufactured rage, by the way. And you seem to be against manufactured rage, but then you don't want to call out that particular manufactured rage. I don't understand why that may be, other than maybe you're trying to protect people on your particular side of the aisle. I really don't know. But that's manufactured rage that you're choosing to leave out that was started by the journalist. All of the drama with Stellar Blade was started by the journalists. And then when you get to the censorship portion, aside from the hard R situation, the outfits were a big talking point because the company, Shift Up, decided to tell players that they were going to release the game uncensored in every single place of the fucking world. They were going to release the game uncensored, and then come to find out day one patch that it actually is censored. And then people had a fit over it, which they have every right to, because that means the company's lying to you. And if you're okay with companies lying to you, then just say you want to suck Big Daddy Corpo's dick and you are wanting everybody else to do the same exact thing. But guess what? Most people are not going to do that. A lot of people are not going to do that, especially now more than ever. People are like, wait, you said this and now you're doing this. That's hypocritical. That's a lie. Why are you lying to us? I feel like people have a right to call that out. What's the next one?
Drama. Because, oh, they hid it behind a boss. They hid it behind a fucking boss and it's too expensive.
What?
Fucking, let me actually, I could probably come up with drama for every fucking game we had, I bet. Let me pull up a playlist.
Yeah, you do that. You do that. Now, keep in mind, there was hundreds, thousands of games. Let's see your playlist. How long is it? Let's see. Yeah, you look through. You search for that. Yeah. Good.
Stalker 2, people were upset just because the fact that it was a Ukrainian studio, so that...
People were upset at Stalker 2 because it released like broken shit. It released like broken shit. And then the studio that was based in Ukraine tried to use the war as an excuse for why the game was released as complete broken shit. I still to this day have not finished Stalker 2 as much as I love the game. Haven't finished it because there was a point in the story where it completely bugs out and halts my progress and I can't continue. 2 patches later, still isn't fixed. I uninstalled the game. I gave up on it. It's like, fuck it, whatever. Who cares? And then people have a right to use Ukraine as a means of a talking point when that studio tried to use Ukraine as a means of a talking point. So if they bring up their Ukrainian heritage as a means to try to shield themselves from criticism, then everybody else has a right to bring up Ukrainian heritage as a means to criticize them.
That got a bunch of shit. Dragon Age, people were upset that there was a character who went by they, them in the game.
People were upset about the trans ideology being forced down everybody's fucking throat every chance they got with Tosh. And then on top of that, too, the scars, the non-binary stuff, the pronoun shit, all the typical modern day nonsense. And then on top of that, the game being not an actual BioWare Dragon Age game. That's a huge issue. It didn't look like one. It didn't act like one. It didn't talk like one. It was not a Dragon Age game. No matter what. You couldn't even transfer world states. That was a big problem. You couldn't even transfer world states, but you're not talking about any of that. Any of that. You're only bringing up the leftist stuff, the fucking identity politics stuff, and you're trying to say, look at all these non-normal people complaining about this totally normal stuff. It's not normal, bro. There's nothing normal about non-binary. There's nothing normal about a trans person. They can exist, sure, absolutely. But we're not, just because they can exist doesn't mean that it's normal.
So that got a bunch of shit. We had fucking Avowed, which came out. People were upset about Avowed because the existence of pronouns was offensive. We had people...
Oh, so that's all you're going to mention is the pronouns. You're not going to mention the fact that Matt Hansen decided to attack people online over a bunch of shit and stir up the pot to the point where he had to be silenced by Obsidian themselves. We're just going to leave that out of there. That context, we're just going to leave it out. Like, who cares about context, right? Just leave it out. Right? It's only about the pronouns. That's it. Bro, I can't. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm only 5 minutes into this, and this entire thing is an absolute clusterfuck. This is a 30-minute video. I'm going to react to the rest of this video on Hypnocast tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry. I'm going to react to this entire thing Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Hypnocast because tonight's going to be Saturday Night Hypnosis. I'll react to this shit on Sunday because there's no way I'm going to get to this 30-minute video in one video here on YouTube. It's impossible. I mean, there's so many things that are wrong with his talking points, but I'll leave it like this, right? If you want to have a conversation with people, sure. I mean, we could definitely have a conversation, but what's gonna really come from it, right? What's honestly, seriously gonna come from it, other than you try to pretend you get gotchas, right? And me just going through your talking points left and right, questioning your entire identity, your ideology, not your identity. I'm sorry, your entire ideology, and we're just gonna go back and forth, and you're gonna still be a leftist at the end of the day, and I'm still gonna be someone who's gonna look at your shit like this is fucking stupid. That's really it. That's all that's gonna happen. But I'm still down for having a conversation. Really, at the end of the day, I don't need to debate you, bro, or whatever. Damn sure don't need to fucking do this whole, like, I'm a muscle guy shit. Well, come on, man. Are we serious right now? You just started working out. Why don't you be a little bit humble, right? Because people who are really about that life, people who are really either working out all the time, jacked or whatever, those people are usually pretty humble because they come from places where they're not about that. And you're over here who just discovered the gym. You've been working out for like a year or two or whatever. You just discovered the gym, my guy. And you're over here trying to talk down to people and assume whether or not they work out or whatever the case would be. You need to humble yourself really quick. You need to humble yourself and realize that you're nowhere near top dog, alpha dog, anything like that. I got nothing wrong with you as a person. I don't. Which again, I don't know why you're going for personal attacks, but if that's what you want to do, have at it. At the end of the day, man, you want to have a conversation? We definitely can. Or we could just move on. That's really it. Because I think I've seen everything that I need to see about what you stand for overall. There might be misconceptions, maybe from my side and also your side. But at the end of the day, I think I have a fair enough understanding. And I think we could be pretty much just safe to kind of move on from this at the end of the day. But you let me know. You let me know. It's going to be a little hard, though, because you have me blocked. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.